everybody. So, welcome to my live readings. I've already been underneath my business page, so if you are not a part of my Horseman Readings business page, feel free to follow me and like that page. I'd really appreciate it. So, I already did my readings there. I'm just going to expand this here. I guess I can't. So if you're hopping on live or on replay, say hello. Let me know what you're grateful for. What do you have going on right now? So one of the topics that came up in the reading that I already did underneath my business page was manifesting, planting seeds, and getting grounded. So just as a general message for everyone watching, and please take the time to also subscribe to my YouTube channel because that's another platform that I'm working through. So if you don't mind signing in, supporting me that way, that would be fabulous. It's one of those, excuse me, places where people can really benefit from all the videos there. I have tons of playlists. So back to manifesting. Don't forget that we have to be really, really grounded in order to manifest. So if our thoughts are like here, there, and everywhere, it's not ideal. So I was talking about crystals and how those can be supportive. If you are a VIP member in my membership group, you already know who you are. I already did some healing tools on, usually we do it on the 21st. I did it on the 22nd this month. But we did some crystal healing, crystal readings. So if you happen to be a member watching this, make sure you check that out because that might be helpful for you right now in manifesting. We also had a new moon where I did a blog through horsemanreadings.com. You might find that that's helpful to read. I also did another blog today, as you might know already. I'm going to be doing a retreat coming up on May 21st, so I started to write a little bit of what was coming through in relation to why retreats can be supportive or why you could create, why it would be helpful to even create your own retreat for yourself as an independent person who just needs that additional support to kind of force yourself to like get out of your comfort zone and actually create a little bit more love for yourself at this time. But the new moon reading that I already did might be worth over on YouTube watching because again, we're still kind of in that energy. And the other thing that I'm finding is helpful for people right now, aside from like grounding and manifesting work, it really feels like a lot of people are working on their self-esteem. That's something I'm definitely learning to focus a bit more on right now, where I notice that there are themes with my clients, and then I'm always like learning and healing through them as well. It's really just kind of like, I find going natural, being more natural can be really challenging for people because we do live in a society where we have filters to kind of make us look better. They do make us look better. However, we want to like the way that we look, the way we actually look too. So that's something I'm kind of working on. When I went over to my Instagram today to do a reading, there was no coincidence that my phone died on me, and then when I came back on, I did no filter. And just allowing yourself, I feel like, to be a little bit more raw and natural can potentially be a good thing. There's nothing wrong with aesthetics, but it's also on the basis that you're also okay with you. And then we kind of have to question a little bit of why we feel like we do those things. I get sometimes we need to add a little bit of color to our life. However, just understanding like why you're doing something. Is it to people please? Is it so that you think somebody will love you more? All those things I feel like are really important. Absolutely, if it's related to getting your energy up, do it, okay? I don't know why that's coming up, but that feels like there's someone that needed to hear that. And then when we were talking over on Instagram, because I would love it if you followed me over there as well, forgiveness was kind of coming up as a theme as well. We were working with my herbal deck and kind of talking a little bit more about intention setting. So the key thing with intentions when we're putting energy out there, as we were just talking about, you have to feel grounded and be grounded to put out the energy that you want. Intention setting is actually a really, really cool thing. I've been working with clients about in relation to that too, that you could set intentions daily, but you can also set intentions weekly. And really, an intention could also be connected to a goal as well. So if there are some emotions that you want to start feeling for your week or for your day, reminding yourself that you are in the driver's seat with those things. Underneath my blog that I wrote today, I was talking a little bit about happiness and that that is a choice. Some people might find that they think that they're grateful, but they're actually not naturally that way. They might identify as a person who has gratitude, but really deep down, when they really reflect, they're still coming from a lack mindset. They might be lacking self-love. They might have negative patterns and behaviors. So I kind of talk a little bit about that in my blog as well. I guess I just want to throw out some resources for you guys. I'm not always coming on here live, so that's kind of my mission, to get more messages out there for people. I'm also feeling like if you're struggling specifically for this message here, what I'm getting is if you're struggling with time, whether you feel like you're aging, it's your health, you don't have enough time to do all the things you want to do in the run of a day. One thing I would suggest in relation to that is starting to schedule things based on what it is that you want to be doing. And so that's just what I'm feeling here in the moment. It's different for everyone, but as a general theme message for the now, I'm getting, so like pencil in stuff that you love to do. So for instance, hello, if you're hopping on, if you want a card message, just let me know. And also, what are you grateful for? If you're hopping on, let me know. So yeah, scheduling yourself in, but also the tests that you like to do. So for instance, I like to go for hydrotherapy to the Nordic spa. It's kind of one of my favorite things to do. So if I try to get myself there once a month, I just actually have to put it into my calendar. So that's kind of what I'm getting for people. If you're struggling with time, make sure that you're actually putting things into your schedule that you want to be doing, and then it might give you something to look forward to. It might force you to do some of those things that you know will make you feel better later, etc. So I'm seeing that people are viewing. Whether you're present here, I'm not sure, but let me know if you can hear me, see me okay. That would be great. I'm just pulling up cards, but I got on a little bit of a tangent there, just talking about some different things I feel like will be helpful for people resource-wise. I'm also getting that there might be somebody watching, again, it could be on the replay, that might be really drained emotionally. Okay, so if you're feeling drained emotionally, often it's because we're, again, allowing ourselves to be drained, right? So we really can't play the blame game. Underneath YouTube, I did some theta healing downloads in relation to being like a victim in situations too. Because like there's a difference between, I feel like, neglecting ourselves, ignoring things, and suppressing things. Like this is like a whole, there's a bunch of stuff underneath that. So I don't know, maybe that's related to Joanne here. But sometimes it can be a bit of a struggle sometimes to really know when it comes to emotions, I feel like, what to do. Because sometimes we're told, oh, just sit and reflect and journal, la 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 la. Other times we're told, like, deal with it head on, like don't ignore your problems, right? And then other times it's you know, just sit and feel, just breathe through it, right? We hear so much different advice, but what I'm getting specifically, we're gonna pull up your card, Joanne, but what I'm getting is if you are feeling emotionally drained, trust that the only person that can change it really at the end of the day is you. So we do have to understand why we're drained, and that's where like getting readings, getting healings can be supportive for people to get more insight on, like, not just looking at things from your perspective, okay? Because there are some people who think, I don't need a reading, I don't need healing, I already do that myself, or I go to a therapist, or I don't need anybody else. But this is just what's kind of coming through. It's just like, it's good to get a little bit of an idea of someone else who can feel what we can feel, okay? So Joanne, mugwort cycles. So it seems like no matter what card deck I'm using, mugwort is coming out for everybody, okay? So where we were just talking about emotions and drain, or maybe like fatigue, or maybe it's like sometimes people can get the winter blues. I'm just like using you as an example, as a general theme, because when I come in group settings, like everything has to be general so people can relate. That's just kind of how it works. But yeah, what comes up sometimes is like shielding. And often when we use the word shielding, people can be like, oh, like that's fear based, right? So, Joanne, what I get for you is I don't sense that you have like a fear based mindset, okay? But the recommendation here is if you want to work through anything and raise your vibration as much as you can, work on visualization in terms of when there's a negative situation going on or you're feeling into somebody's energy and you know like they're that person. Like you're trying not to judge, but you're like, oh my God, there's one of them, right? They're just this way and blah, blah, blah. And what I'm getting is one thing, just a suggestion of what's come up in a lot of my trainings when I'm teaching is visualizing purple light to send to people when you sense or feel that they're hurting, because hurt people hurt, or sometimes people aren't aware of their own energy. So visualize purple energy going towards the person. And in your specific situation, I'm getting, and then send it to yourself. So visualize purple energy going to the person. You don't have to close your eyes. But even right now, anybody can do this exercise. Send purple light to anybody that you know is in pain or that's hurting. Send it to me. Send it to whoever you feel energy off of. That's not the energy you want, okay? And then after you do that, send that back to yourself. Send that energy directly back to yourself. So you sent it to them and then send it to yourself. And notice the difference in how that feels sending it to the person. And notice how different you feel after you do it. For some reason, me doing that exercise, I chose my father, by the way. That's who I was sending the energy to. And then when I sent it back to myself, I felt like more, a little brighter, a little lighter, okay? Because often we'll take on other people's beep and not even know whose it is, okay? So that's actually a little bit of like a, not just a cord cutting, but like a way to identify with like where you're picking up on psychic energy or information, okay? Apparently you are psychic and you're an empath. Very cool. Anyone else like a message? Kind of led to today led to some like tips and exercises, but I think that that's fabulous because I never know what's going to happen here. We were also talking a little bit about self-esteem today. LOL. Do you relate to any of that, Joanne? My biggest thing with like readings and healings, not everybody's going to connect to us, and that's totally fine. And we don't always need confirmation when we give a reading. We just trust ourselves, right? But in certain circumstances, where I feel like you're open, I don't mind asking that question because I know I'm not attaching myself to you and you're not attaching yourself to me. It's just genuinely part of like loving people, right? And working with loving people, which I'm so grateful I get to do that. So you did. That's wonderful. I'm also feeling like since you're here, Joanne, and other people aren't asking for messages, let's go deeper. Sycamore, subconscious, okay? Because this seems to be really helpful for the group. So right away, let me know what you see, or anybody watching, what do you see in with this card where we seem to be working with some other intuitives? You might not identify with being psychic, but you might actually be. I actually think that everybody is. In my membership group, if you're VIP, you got access to my 6-week psychic development program. Each week we did a little something different, but people started to fade away throughout the class, which is funny. So it allowed one person specifically to get way more out of the class than others because some people just had different time schedules. So we started off big and got smaller. But in that class, this person really started to have these like more aha moments, awakenings, and epiphanies, recognizing that some of the things that she had been feeling or seeing or thinking weren't just random things that were happening. She was picking up on other people's energy. She was like having dreams about other people. Like she knew all of this stuff. But as we were talking about a little bit of fear, it's okay to have some fear. Everybody has it. but like she needed somebody else to like help her pull that out of her, to show her like, hey, like this is what like is happening. You're not just like, you don't need to minimize what it is that you're thinking or feeling. This is a safe place to share. Okay. I'm seeing a mirror image and eyes watching. Okay, interesting. So in my psychic development 6-week program, so again, you just pay like a monthly fee to get into the membership. I just feel like sharing this because there's a lot of information in there. We talk a lot about mirror work and how every time like we pull up a card in a group setting that like everybody can relate to it. And that's where sometimes I feel like not everybody understands that there's a reflection within all of us, even when we're being triggered on all of that stuff. So if I even look towards like me sending, think about the person you sent that purple energy out to. Who did you pick? Feel free to share if you feel safe to do that. This is a safe space. However, I understand we're in a group setting. Also in my membership group, if you email me things that are coming up for you when I go to do my regular videos and create the content, I base it around the things that you're emailing me about. Okay, so I don't like go back and give you all that support, but when I create the content that everybody gets, you get to share that with others. Okay. Hello, I'd love a card. Thank you. No problem, Mary. Okay. So anyway, the person that you chose, there's a mirror there for you in the sense of like, what do they have going on that you feel like they're struggling with? Okay. So chances are, Mary, I'll give you the next card. Chances are there's something within them that's also within you that made you pick them or made you feel some sort of way towards them. Okay. So if I pick my father, I feel like my dad is a person who's been more on the giving side than on the receiving side. And then he kind of left himself a little bit without because he wasn't always putting himself first. So interesting, because that's actually something I'm working on, is putting myself first. And sometimes that can be challenging for females. Sometimes that can be challenging for empaths, whatever it is. Okay. So just some little exercise to focus on. Okay. And the eyes watching. So the eyes watching could even be as simple as your connection to spirit. Because if you believe that spirit's all around us and you are clairvoyant, you're capable of seeing energy, like that's a beautiful gift to have. However, it is really important for us to, as we were talking about, ground ourselves, smudge, working with all of the extra tools are going to be important. So maybe there's someone watching who needs to be in that 6-week psychic development program that's pre-recorded underneath my VIP. And then, of course, as I was saying, you get that extra support there. But there's so many awesome things in there that you get to watch at your own time. So if you have questions about that, reach out, okay? So, Mary. All right. So one thing I feel right away, Mary, with this card, feel free, guys, to let me know, no matter who you are, what you see in this card by using your clear seeing. You can also use your ability to feel as well. Do you get an energy from this card? Okay. So what I get right away, Mary, is now is the time for you to start caring about not just yourself, but like things that you're really passionate about or things that you feel very strongly about. And the reason why this is coming up is because sometimes we become an advocate for something that we didn't even realize we felt so strongly about. But that's kind of what I'm getting for you. It's giving me lots of chills. So if you're like scared or nervous to really talk about something, so like vaccinations are a perfect topic where like I'm starting to have clients now coming to me in relation to all kinds of things about that, right? So that's one of those topics where sometimes we're just like, not good when they're not talking about it. And I think that's where, for you specifically, I get that it's okay to feel really strongly about things and talk about those things and share those things. And I think it'll be helpful for you along your journey. And if it just becomes like a learning experience for you, I still think that that would be healthy, because that can really help elevate us and help us with ascension, etc. Okay? So you have heart healing. Makes sense. I really like that. He looks like he might be nervous to speak about something, and that's okay, right? You could almost feel that probably off of me today. I started a new Facebook here with a new business name, with different people and all that stuff, right? I'm working with a lot of like just new people and all that. So I really appreciate everybody coming on here. Hi there, I'm new here. Hi, Diane. So would you like a message before I take off? And if so, just say yes. Thanks for coming on here. You can also check out my readings on my business page from today. You're welcome, Mary. Feel free to let me know if any of that connects to you. Or also, this could be a sharing opportunity for you. Is there like a topic or a subject where you're feeling really like strongly about discussing or being an advocate for? First thing that came to me for with the mirror there for me is bullying. I think like all the kids were wearing pink recently for bully awareness until I don't have kids. But that's something that actually started my initiation to my full-time business here in I live in Riverview in New Brunswick, but in Moncton, because there was some stuff going on in relation to bullying and suicide and all these things. And something just told me that I needed to start my business up like full time. And I started to like give away some free sessions for anyone that might have been going through some type of bullying situation or anything in relation to like suicide. Sometimes we're affected by somebody else's depression, etc. Anyway, for some reason that's coming up too, that there's to know your why, right? And if you know your why, you're all good. It doesn't matter what other people think. Thank you. I will be hooking up with ASAP. That sounds lovely. Okay, so Diane, Prince. For some reason, I'm feeling drawn to my black obsidian snowflake here. And what this is known for is balance and meditation, okay? When I do readings, sometimes I'll pull up my black obsidian mirror, which I usually pull that up when there's someone who's working on their shadow self, or like full moon, or like really going into some deep healing work, okay? So what I'm getting is for you, Diane, to not resist going deeper into your healing work. Don't be afraid. So you might want to go underneath my YouTube channel and listen to some of the theta healing downloads that I was just doing there. You can check out my link tree, which has all my links for. I have the majority of them underneath here with my profile. But I just think that you'll find that helpful, okay? So Diane, you also have dandelion manifestation. Dandelion root is one of the tinctures that I first started making. And dandelion root is really good for the liver. It's really great for detoxing. And so that's kind of what we were just talking about, going deeper, right? When you're really like ready to pull that energy out of you. So dandelion has this way of like rooting us down and pulling energy out, okay? So that feels like that's what you're working on, is just being like, okay, I need to get this toxic stuff in and out. It's as if we're like scooping it, okay? I'm also doing a Reiki level 1 class on March 11th. If that's something that somebody feels called to, feel free to join me. Those are also underneath my VIP membership group, different levels, but getting the one-on-one support might be helpful, because essentially what we do is we go in and we scoop it out, because it's energy, right? There's different ways and tools that we can do that. So I'm doing a sale right now on my readings and healing. So again, through horsemanreadings.com, you can check that out. I now have a retreat coming up, which I'm so looking forward to. So Just No Stress says, hi, Robin, would you like a message? Also, that card talks about manifestation, which is actually, for me, I always know when it's time to leave, when I'm talking about something that I started. I'm ending with something that I already started, which was manifestation, right? We also, yes, sure, okay, perfect. We also just had that new moon on Monday. So that was in Pisces, where like those are like go-getter people, but then sometimes they're struggling emotionally because they're like, so let's go get it, I'm ready, but then their energy might not be ready yet, right? So it's like up here I'm like, yeah, let's do it, and then the other part of you is like, actually, like, I'm tired today. So that's what's coming up for you, Just No Stress, love that name, is it's aligning our physical body with your mental. So first start with, what are you feeling physically? So if you want to do an exercise, everybody can do this. Locate an area that's feeling tight or tense. Could be for someone loose, where they might have like extra skin or extra energy. But just locate an area that feels off. So for me, it's like kind of like, oh, I've got a couple different places. So I'm going to say my hip. Okay. So I'm going to pick my hip, that physical place where I'm feeling some type of tension. I'm going to locate that area. And once I locate that, I'm just going to like identify with it. Is it sore? Is it stiff? Is it like sad? Is it happy? Is it hyper? Is it stagnant? Is it sluggish? Okay? Once you've identified with like how it's acting, its behaviors, go as deep as you want to. We're going to very, very, very gently remove this energetically, as we were just kind of talking about going in and scooping it. But we're just going to place it outside of our body now. So that description is now outside of your body. And we're going to ask it a question. What were you here to show me? Because it was there for a purpose. And just see intuitively what message you get. So my hip, for me, is like a stabbing. It's like something stabbing me. It's annoying. It's like getting my attention. And as I gently remove that energy, and I ask it, what were you here to show me? Oh, I get penetration. That is so funny. I happened to be working with a sex coach last night, so I'm not surprised that this is coming up in conversation. So to me, that's like, okay, like I'm due to have sex. That's so funny because my attachment, so feel free to share yours if you feel comfortable. But my hip, to me, as a symbol, always represents relationship, so I automatically knew it was related to my relationship, okay? So that's something, as we're talking about scheduling things in, now that I'm aware of, I will do that, okay? So being more aware of your situation and your circumstance, it's so funny how our body is just getting our attention in a certain area. And then I'm going to fill up that energy now with purification, with unconditional love. Since we've been practicing with the visualizing purple light, let's send that energy some purple light. Let's fill it up with purple light. And once you've done that, energetically bring that back into the area of your body where you were feeling that. And just allow that to float all through your body. Continuing to see purple light going all through your body. And just noticing how that feels. So now, like, hey, I've got a new schedule. And also, as I adjust my body, it's actually feeling a lot lighter. Okay? Tapping is another technique that we can use to work with the physical body to help us mentally. Okay? So just no stress. Hopefully that was helpful. Anybody else, if you found it helpful, let me know. Send me a heart. I might be able to see a heart here. I'm working on a different platform. Okay, so Lynn. And then I'm going to go. So right away, Lynn, my energy is feeling like very like vibrant. But my third eye feels like it's on fire. Okay, so Lynn, you might be getting a lot of intuitive bumps, and you're like, wow, okay, this is overwhelming, or this is a lot of information, that sort of thing. So one big thing when we get a lot of intuitive bumps, that means we've got to get it out of us. We don't need to store it inside of us. We've got to find ways to release it. It was very helpful. Oh, I'm so glad. And this is where like this is like a public group setting. So yeah, it's a little different than doing an in-person session, or even like when I do my membership stuff, you can contact me. However, this is free, right? Gratitude. So thank you so much. Helpful as always. Oh, I'm so glad. I just go back just to our Reiki training days when I was teaching you with like those little like maracas, that sort of thing, because I know music is a big part of your life, and yoga and all that stuff too. But sound is such a peaceful thing, right? So just specifically like waterfalls feel good for you, whether it's traveling to a waterfall or inviting the emotion of a waterfall, visualization, put it on in your background. That might be helpful, okay? But as we're talking about the outpour of emotions and the need to release things, it's so, so important. No matter how you want to get it out of you, sometimes you've just got to get it out of you. So with Lynn, if you're getting like all this energy happening, like develop all of the tools and skills and ways to release energy, okay, as much as you can. So if you've mastered one thing, go and master something else. Read up about it. Take a class. My Reiki level 1's coming up. Like I do offer quite a lot of things. I'm doing deals right now, so it's a really good time until March 1st to get some additional tools. However, if you've got them, that's great, but I'm still getting like really use them, multiply using them. That's all I'm going to say with that. But specifically, like writing might even just be a really good way to quickly release something, okay? So don't reject yourself as a result of the things that you're getting to experience, because you've got this beautiful, what I consider a gift, okay? But it's only going to be a gift and feel like a blessing if you're getting it out of you, right? Okay, I'm empathetic. Makes sense, yes. And yeah, like sometimes there are things that we can't control, right? And so all we can do is like work with what we can control, correct? Or it can become like, yeah, something that we no longer desire. So it's just kind of like the cards that were given, or when you have lemon, make lemonade, that sort of thing. So Nancy, you're my last girl, okay? Subconscious. Okay, this is one of the cards you have. Feel free to share, guys. What do you see in the picture? So Nancy, I'm getting a lot of like sensation around my crown. That tells me, you're welcome, Lynn, that you have, I'm getting so many beautiful people in here. You've got a lot of beautiful spiritual energy. I kind of see you as like a counselor of some sort, someone who can really, really help people a lot. Whether it's your and that's giving me chills everywhere, whether it's like your ability to have empathy for other people, your ability to just be in your heart space, but it's so, so beautiful. I just have like the chills from head to toe. So I'm getting for you to like, if you do have any fears, just to like slowly work on some of those as to like what might be holding you back from like truly stepping into being that like divine soul or spirit, because you're already doing it, but it's like really even stepping in further into that beautiful soul that you are, okay? So if I were to do a reading on you, I know that there would be some theta healing that I would offer you, but it would be more like a soul path reading, working on like your divine timeline, how to really align with your divine timeline. Because sometimes we think that we know what our divine timeline is, but you want to be aligned with your ideal divine timeline, so you don't feel like you need to do any additional work, because Spirit's always there for you, helping and providing so many things, all your resources for you. So it's like, for you, I would never want to see you work any harder than you have to, because you're so beautifully aligned and connected, okay? So keep up the good work. You're doing wonderful things for the world, I feel. So our theme is heart healing for everybody, just to like close up here. It sounds like everybody's really tapping into their own knowledge and wisdom here. You're learning tools. If you're just hopping on, maybe go back to the beginning, or whatever you divinely feel connected to in the video. Maybe you got what you needed. We've got inner child here. That was a big part of the new moon that we just had. A lot of people are really starting to dissect some of the things that they might be feeling like they're lacking in, as we were talking about doing some shadow work, working on some of those limiting beliefs. Renewal, beautiful new beginnings for everyone. It seems like people are ready to move forward. They're just starting to get their energy on board with it, as we were talking about with Just No Stress. And I was also like throwing out there some of the VIP membership stuff that I have for certain people too that are really ready to continue to develop those tools and ways to grow spiritually, emotionally. And I'm also getting that there might be someone going to be watching who has a sickness of some sort that they're really might be like struggling with, even to the point where they feel like they need to stop thinking about it. And sickness comes in all forms, right? And just reminding yourself here that really pay attention to the percentage of how much sickness is really in there, because sometimes we can feel like we're worse than what we are. Whereas we'll say if you're only like 50% sick the majority of the time, and you feel that way, it might actually be more like 24% of the time. But again, when we're feeling sick, everything feels worse than what it is or amplified. Okay, so just remind yourself to continue to tune in, ask yourself some internal questions, and really like highlight those questions to the universe and allow yourself to explore the information. So if you also go into my membership group as a pro level, I would recommend watch the 2 versions of the Akashic Records certification trainings I have in there too, just to get more support for your own sake of your healing journey. So love and light to all of you. That was really interesting. Thanks so much for everyone who shares this out. If you don't, that's okay too. Okay, bye for now.